If I could have your attention here in the Media Center, we'll continue on with today's media availability. And we are joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 24 Napa Auto Parts Throwback Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. The 24 now, you're throwing back to the 9 next year. That's some pretty cool news to come out this week.
Yeah, it was. It was, as I've, kind of said all week, and I'm sure everybody's heard, it's something I'm really excited about. It's an opportunity I couldn't turn down, something that, I guess with just the way the changes and all the things that are happening at Hendrick next year, it was a good time to do it. And with all that being said, Mr. Hendrick, I guess, kind of had that in the back of his mind and was thinking about it. I had always kind of, lightheartedly joked about it over time, and somewhere along the lines he had been really listening to that. So I appreciated it for sure, and excited for the rest of this season. Definitely to, as I've said throughout the week too, have an opportunity to add on to, the success Jeff's had in this car, and I'd like to do that before I don't have that opportunity anymore.
Good deal. Let's open the floor to questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We will get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start here with Claire B., and then we'll go to Jim.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Chase, have you gotten a lot of reaction from the fans as to the number change?
Yeah, I have. It's been, from everything I've seen, everybody's pretty fired up as much as I am. So I think the responses I've seen is it just fits, and that's kind of the way I have seen it in my mind too. It's something that fits me. It fits the history of my family, sure, but it also fits the history of what I've always kind of ran and where I came from, and starting to race go-karts and things over the years. So that's been the biggest response I've seen, and I certainly agree with it.
Come up front to Jim.
Jim Mutter, motorsport.com. Did you, I know you mentioned that you had kind of joked about it a little bit beforehand, but since you had already now raced almost 2 seasons in the 24, did you have any second thoughts about making the change, or did the positives outweigh the negatives?
No, I didn't have any second thoughts. I mean, it was really a no-brainer for me. Anytime you have a chance to kind of go back to where you came from, and in a sense, with your number, it's a number I've been tied to for a long time. And when you're a kid and you go and you're going to play soccer for the first time and you pick number 9, I feel like from there you're always going to have that connection with it or whatever. So for me, no, it was pretty easy to want to take that opportunity. The only thought I have had is, the 24, it really has become home for me over the past year and a half, and I feel like I have kind of got to that point with it and felt at home. So that's the only thing to it. But no, it was a no-brainer for me to want to take that chance.
We're going to go to your right here to Al.
Yeah, Chase, Al Pierce from Auto Week. You came into this series with very much high expectations. A lot of people in this room thought you would have won by now. Are you concerned or worried?
Sorry I let you down. I'm sorry I let you down.
No, that's not what I'm saying. The fact that you've finished so well so many times, does that encourage you that the win is right next door? Are you worried at all?
No, I'm not. I mean, I look back at some races we had last year. We've had a couple opportunities this season. So the chances have been there. And it's kind of one of those things. Like, boy, if I knew last year what I knew this year, you would like to think we could have made the most of some great opportunities we had last season, more than a couple times. So I think that's encouraging. I think we need to find a little speed and continue to execute our races well. I think we've been doing that better over the past couple weeks. Bad circumstances at Bristol, but we were running decent, around 5th or 6th, well inside the top 10, so we definitely have some work to do, but no, I'm not concerned about it. I think if we get things where they need to be, and I can execute and do my job the way I need to do it, I don't see any reason why we can't go and compete to win more races as we've done in the past. We've competed for them, just never done it.
We'll go next to your right here to Hill, then over to Lee, then to Brian.
Hi, Chase. Hill Overton, WIXC Radio. It's great to me to see the number 9 go your way after your dad made such great use of that number. I got to ask you this, though. Who was the more thrilled of the two, you or your dad, Bill?
I think me. I've always, ever since I was little, like I said, that was the number I always picked, the number I always went with, the number I raced from go-karts all the way through late models, even the Xfinity years, and all that was really because it was my decision. I mean, I didn't have to pick that number. I didn't have to go with it. That was just kind of the number I'd always liked, and really my passion and love for that number came from the Evernham days with my dad, and I was just old enough at that point to where I kind of started to understand and saw him racing. I made a connection with him with that number, in the early 2000s that, really I had no idea about the 80s and all the success then at that point when I made that connection. So it was really the early 2000s that is kind of what made me want to be number 9. So, no, I definitely think I'm probably more excited than he is, I think, about it. So, like I said, it's going to be really cool. It's the 9. I'm biased for sure, but it's too good of a number to not be running currently. It's a good-looking number, if you ask me. So I'm excited.
We'll go to your left, to Lee, then to Brian, then to Scott.
LeeSpencerMotorsport.com. So tell us about Chase's big European vacation.
Yeah, we me and a couple friends went to Europe over the past off week. Got to go to the Belgium F1 race, which is pretty neat. It was cool to to see how they do things and just how much of a different world it is over there. It was kind of funny to see, how much of what they do is different and how much of what they do is the exact same. We just have a little bit of a different way of getting to the final way of getting there. But definitely the language barrier was a bit of a problem a few times. Wasn't too crazy about the food. We typically would eat dinner and then have to go back and eat dinner again at McDonald's. Because the food was just really bad a lot of places, so we struggled with that. But other than that, it was a great time, a lot of fun, and kind of good way to recharge the batteries and get going again for this last stretch. Yeah, we did. We flew into there, flew in back from Atlanta. That was the only place we could find close enough to everywhere we wanted to go that had a direct flight. So. Went to Ireland for a couple days, and from there to Germany. Came across the Autobahn, which is pretty cool. And then from there drove over to Belgium for the F1 race, and then back to the Netherlands to go home. Neither, really. I'm not big into art. Actually, we did try to go to an art museum. The line was packed out, so we skipped that one. But rode bicycles around town. It's pretty cool.
Go to Brian, then to Scott, and this young lady up front.
Brian Nelson with the Motor Racing Network. Chase, when you reflect on your time with JRM, can you kind of give me an idea of the driver development aspect of that, knowing kind of where your career was headed, and how JRM, is geared toward driver development, and is Dale involved in that as well?
Yeah, Dale's. His name's above the door, so he's going to be involved at some point along the line for sure. My relationship and opportunity at JRM didn't really come through him or Kelly. Granted, they did a lot of work once I got there that I've certainly appreciated over the years. My connection and opportunity there came from Mr. Hendrick's involvement and ownership in the team, which I feel like is probably pretty similar to where William is right now and how he kind of got his foot in the door over there, which is kind of how I did as well. So I think in the right circumstance, yes, I think it's geared to be a stepping stone to want, for the next level in the right circumstance. In some circumstances, it may not be. It may be a good home for guys for a long time, and if that's the case, too, that's great. Consistency is good at a race team, and guys like Elliott and Justin over there right now are really a good thing for the company. I think there's guys within the company that believe in those two guys. They want to be there. They want to work there and work on those cars because they know the consistency of what they bring. For a guy that's only going to be there for a year or two, you don't know as a worker and as an employee. So I think it's good to have a mix of both. And I do think in some cases, yes, it's a nice stepping stone. I'm fortunate that it was for me, and I'm sure William is too. But in some cases, I think it's a good, consistent spot to stay.
Scott?
Chancey with Morning News in Florence. I think you're the first person to be in the Cup Series next year to ever drive the same number your dad drove on the Cup Series. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, and like I said, it's special. I don't know if I am or not. If I am, that's really cool, you know. But it's a, you know, like I said, it's a opportunity and something that I wasn't going to turn down. And you know, I grew to love that number because of my dad and because of the years that he raced. And I wasn't going to say no. It's something that I always kind of joked about and wanted to, you know, would definitely do if I ever had the chance, and the chances rolled around, and luckily all our partners and people that, you know, make the whole deal work were on board with it to get it approved, and it did, and we're gonna, you know, race the Daytona 500 next year in the 9.
Come up here front.
Going off the conversation about your dad, with it being throwback weekend, getting to, you know, participate in the design of the car, how special is that for you, and what do you like about it?
Yeah, I like our car a lot. It is a car my dad ran a number of years ago. One of the first cars he ran, which, you know, the cool part about the car we're running this weekend, it's really not a car that people identify with him. A lot of people don't even know he ran a baby blue car. So pretty cool. He has a lot of history and insight on the car that I really didn't know about. I did some stuff with him the other day and got to learn about, you know, kind of just the different things and all. You know, he has such a good grasp on the history and you know, how things were back then and why they ran that car. And you look at the car, the drive shaft had come out of it at one race and it beat the hell out of the floorboard and a lot of the things inside the car. And all they did was just take a hammer to it, fix it enough, put it back together, and go the next week. So funny to see that stuff, and I mean, it's still beat all to crap in there, and they you know, just keep on trucking down the road with it. So it was cool story, and like I said, the coolest thing about it is not a lot of people even know about that car and even know that he ran it. So hopefully that opens some eyes.
What did he say about it when you told him?
Well, he was excited about it. You know, it was kind of in between that, and I have another idea for a throwback scheme that I really want to do. I don't want to give it away right now, but it was between that car and the other idea that I had, and both of them were going to be really neat to do. And he's definitely excited about this one. But honestly, I think he'll be more excited about my other idea if I can ever get it pushed forward and approved.
Any additional questions for Chase? Let's go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Chase, two things. So with going overseas and seeing the F1 race, did you get to talk to any of the drivers or get some stuff behind the scenes? What was that experience like, and who did you talk to? And secondly, as time kind of passes, do you have a greater appreciation of your win here in 2014 to win the first time, or how do you view that win now compared to when you won that night?
I didn't get a chance to meet any of the drivers over at the F1 race. I was lucky to find my pass. I couldn't speak the same language as anybody over there. They didn't speak English. I didn't speak whatever they speak. And I had a hard time finding where I needed to go. Asking directions doesn't work. So luckily I had one phone number to get in contact with somebody. They did speak English, and I was able to get my pass. We just barely made it in there. Had to hike about 4 miles from our parking spot to get there. So no, I didn't get to meet any drivers, which was fine. Did get to see a couple cars up close, which was pretty neat. To look at just all the things those things have going on is pretty incredible, and the speed they're able to carry is definitely neat. Something you know, it's just wild to watch them and how fast they're going. But they can't get very close to each other, but they're going fast. So cool to watch for sure. But what was the second part of your question? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you know, I guess beginner's luck. We had a great night here the first time, and since then it's gone pretty poorly for me. So, you know, at that point in 2014, we had some great stuff going on at JRM. We had some really, really strong cars. We just come off a big win at Texas the week before. You know, so it was just a really good time. We had things rolling at that point during that season, which was great. And we came here with it, and you know, had a really good car. We ran in the top 5 the majority of the night, and had a late caution there. Kyle was going to beat us for the win, and ended up, lining up on the top row and got a lucky restart. Ended up winning it, so it worked out. But it hasn't gone that good since, for sure.
Well, Chase, thanks for taking the time to join us, and good luck this weekend.
Yep, thank you.